Hi there, Graham and Shirley here from Sanji Adventures on another beautiful morning here in northern Cyprus. Today we're at the ancient city of Salamis. So please come along and join us as we explore this remarkable historic ancient site. It is absolutely amazing.
Well, I love coming to Salamis. The first time I came to Salamis was in 2004, and Graham brought me here. And I thought, oh, it'll be another remains, a bit of a Roman remains. And I used to do a bit of archaeological digging when I lived in Chester, when I was in my teenage years. So I expected a little bit of something or a little bit of that remaining. And when we arrived here, even from this view, I thought, wow, this looks amazing. I could see the tops of the pillars over there, and I could see these arches that were part of the old bath system. I was very excited, but wait till you get to the other side of this. It is amazing.
Salamis is based on the coast just north of Famagusta, and there's been a settlement here since 1100 BC. Originally, people think it was Anatolians who came over and initially settled here first. But over the centuries, different civilizations have come, developed, and made it larger and larger till the full glory days of the Roman times. Now, the current ruins sit on about a square mile of land. However, only a certain amount of excavation has been done, and they reckon the city probably spread out much further out towards St Barnabas Church in the hinterland. So there's so much more to discover here. But here we are, we enter now. Is this not totally stunning and amazing? Now, a lot of the heads of these Roman statues were defaced during the sort of Byzantine Christian times, as they thought that the Romans were pagans and therefore these figures should be defaced. There are a lot of other figures elsewhere which were sort of nude statues, and they were seen as obscene and they were taken down as well. So between the Christians, the Arabs and various significant earthquakes, this place has fallen into disrepair. But my goodness me, it's a jewel in the crown of Cyprus, and you have to come and visit it. Stretching before us here is the gymnasium, which was sort of like a public meeting spot. And after major earthquakes in about the 4th century, you'll notice that some of these columns around are slightly smaller than others, and that's because the Christians, after the earthquake, dragged a lot of columns from the old stadium, which is further back, and brought them here. So they're quite irregular. But what a beautiful place this is. And here we go. Directly opposite the gymnasium is the hammam, or the Roman baths. Again, all heated underground with hyperclasts. And they really are quite stunning public spaces where people came and bathed. I've been here many, many times over my life, and I'm always constantly and consistently amazed by the beauty of the place. Looking down to the remnants of old mosaic walls here, floors here, looking round to that fantastic view over there of the gymnasium, through another room into another set of baths, again here where you can see the underground central heating that they had, the hyperclasts, and these beautiful, beautiful rooms. I'll walk around the edge here first. Really quite substantial. Moving towards the back of the bath, look at this domed area here, and there's still some examples of Roman fresco up on the walls up there. Absolutely stunning. And we look around to the sea over here. Beautiful. Another example here of a huge semicircular bath at the back here of this particular part of the complex. And then views on down through to some more baths a bit further down. And if I just take you up to the arch over here, you can see some remains of beautiful, beautiful mosaic work. Here you can clearly see the ingenuity of the Roman engineers. And in parts here, still parts of the old marble flooring that would have been all over here, still around. And as we come through this archway here into the next section, look above. The oldest replica of an ancient fresco in Cyprus dating back to the 3rd century AD. It depicts Hylas, one of the Argonauts, chasing the golden fleece, rejecting a water nymph near the river. How amazing is that? Again, as we walk through these buildings, look at the beautiful marble flooring that there is everywhere. And everywhere you turn, again here another bath, a more complete section of the marble here. Quite stunning architecture. And here we are, coming back out, with a lovely view of the gymnasium square. And again, all this beautiful marble flooring. I would love to have been here in its time of glory. It is so stunning. Climbing up some stairs here to the side of the Roman baths is an example of an incredible water cistern which they used obviously to supply the baths and probably helped supply the water for the town as well. It really was quite an important city. In fact, at one stage during its life early on, it was actually the capital city of the whole of the island. And then Paphos took over that role, but still Salamis was probably the most important commercial port on the whole island. See, parts of the dome of the cistern are still in evidence here. Incredible craftsmanship. But a nice view. Now around here, the extent of the site, it goes right back. You can probably in the distance see some hotels, and they think that probably this was probably about 5 or 6 square miles worth of building and settlement. And then a stunning view back to the gymnasium again, and there's Shirley down there. As we walk around the perimeter here of the remains, we've still got the coast on the left-hand side. And you can imagine there must have been loads of buildings over here for the port, etc. And as we walk round, we come to a little cafe restaurant over there. And as we swing round further, we come to probably one of the jewels in the crown of the place here. It's a 10,000-seater Roman amphitheater. Absolutely remarkable. We'll take you there next. Here we are as we walk down the steps here towards the front of the amphitheater. It takes me back more years than I can remember, probably 60 years to when I was a 6-7-year-old, singing in my school choir in this amphitheater to about 8,000 people. It was quite mind-blowing even for a 7-year-old at the time. But here we go, we walk in now to the amphitheater itself. come to the stage. And I'll take you around the theatre itself. I'll take you on a walk to the top now. The wider seats in the bottom few rows are obviously for the wealthier people, and as we come further up we get to the cheap seats as such. I'll get to the very top in a minute. And we can see Shirley down the bottom. We'll just have a walk around the side of the amphitheatre now to see what we can find. Well, since we last came, they put signposts up, which is quite useful, or red arrows anyway, obviously telling us where to go. The back of the stage had lots of rooms, which must have been used for preparation for performances and things like that. Loads of ante-rooms off it. Must have been quite a city. Some people reckon it's very similar to Pompeii actually, and there's so much here that's been uncovered, so you never actually find out. And over here is the site of the old fish market, and behind it some Roman baths. There's still some quite incredible columns and evidence here. Here we are, we're at the Roman baths now. Start off with in the south storage rooms. Progressing northward there was a sanatorium, a sudatorium, a sauna, a hot room, a tepid room, a frigidarium, a cold room, and a poditarium, dressing rooms. Quite an impressive complex of buildings. I'll climb up onto some of the rubble here, see if I can look down inside. You'll have to excuse the camera panning so much, there's just so much to try and take in as we go around. There we go. We come up to the top here. You can just see the extent of the baths and etc. Absolutely stunning. And just further along from there is a huge reservoir, which were built obviously to supply the water to the baths just nearby. So there must be big tanks underneath all this stonework. Quite incredible structures. As we're walking around the southern perimeter here, we've come across the remains of an old Roman villa, which was probably quite substantial in its day. Probably owned by a wealthy merchant or something like this, who plied their trade back down the road in the city centre. Bit of conjecture there, but probably right. Just everywhere you look here, these are apparently the old Byzantine walls, but you just look around you everywhere, there's piles of stone and goodness knows what else. A lot of this land has been inundated by sort of mimosa trees and by eucalyptus as well, and then covered in sand over successive generations. But things are just emerging all the time. Again, look over here. A pile of rocks, probably from an earthquake. This is the Basilica of St Epiphanius, and also functioned as the episcopal see of the city. Following the seismic activity in the first half of the 4th century, Salamis was rebuilt with financial support from the Emperor Constantius and granted a new name, Constantia. From the mid-4th century, it also replaced Near Paphos as the capital of Cyprus, and thus became the civic and religious centre of the whole province. Of Epiphanius is one of the earliest monuments of Christianity in Cyprus, and certainly one of the most influential buildings of ecclesiastical architecture on the island. As you can see here, there's been some really good renovation work done here and preservation work. They've cleared the site a little, put gravel down to stop any more damage, and right at the very end here, apparently there's some extensive pieces of mosaic, which we'll go and have a look at. But it is fantastic to see this work being carried out. And there you go, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now here's an interesting thing. The building we're coming to now dated between 620, 640 AD. Northern end of the Agora. The water requirement of the city was supplied, would you believe, from Bashpinar, near where I live now, in the Kyrenia Mountains, with the help of aqueducts, and it was stored here. The vaulted ceiling was supported by 3 buttresses and 36 square columns. It was in use until the 7th century AD. Well, have a look at this. This sounds quite impressive. Wow, that's quite an impressive structure. So this would have had a ceiling at some point, stop the evaporation. Water all the way from Bashpinar. How incredible is that? I think we're just walking alongside now a major piece of architecture, which I won't tell you too much about now till we get to the end and you can look down. It really is, again, another one of the top spots here. It's incredibly beautiful. In fact, there's a sign here, so I can be very accurate in terms of what I tell you it is. There's some lovely shade here and a bench just over there, which I think I might sit on for 5 minutes, because we've been out in the midday sun now for about 2 hours walking. We're now coming down to the Agora and Temple of Zeus. The Temple of Zeus belonged to the Roman era, apparently, and the structure was built on the foundations of the first temple from a Hellenistic period. But it was a big meeting place and marketplace, this. And round the edge of what I'm going to be showing you, there was sort of seating for about, 6,000 to 10,000 people. So it was a major place for people to come. The place here is just littered with columns, beautiful bits of sculpture, etc. And just look down here and follow it around. And you can just see the outline of the rocks over there. So there's a big, long area that was cleaned out, and it was covered all the way along in these beautiful columns, which have now fallen down, probably from the big earthquakes that they had around here. But just look at the heads of some of these columns that you can see. Absolutely beautiful. Huge as well. Just looking along here as we go, you can gaze the sort of size and majesty of the structure that must have been here in its time. And you just walk along, and the place is just hewn with these huge and incredible works of art. That's all you can say that they are, really. Absolutely incredible. I'll just take a little wander down here. This is some of the old steps that were each side of the Agora. I'll come on through and look down to the far end over there. And that's where the great big water system was, where we were a little while ago. It's a lot more overgrown since we were last here, unfortunately. calling all ancient universities who specialise in ancient architecture and archaeology, come and see if you can borrow a plot of land here and teach your students how to do archaeology, whilst at the same time saving this magnificent structure. It is absolutely incredible. As you can see, it is sadly incredibly overgrown. Looking down to the column at the far end, and that's where I've just walked from, where those tall trees are. It must have been such a spectacular sight. Here we're coming to a Byzantine church here. I'll give you more details of it in a moment. It's in a tremendous position. Going all the way down here with that beautiful sea view behind it. And there's a boat on the horizon as well. This is the Basilica of Campanopetra. The building we've come to now is an old Byzantine olive mill. A circular building there, and the stones in the corner there for grinding the olives, but we'll take a little wander down. This is one of the last ruins that we come to before we come back to the back of the amphitheater. Just behind the amphitheater at the back is a cafe which serves ice cold drinks. I think we may well partake. Anyway, so here's the old mill here. If I just walk to the end, you can see a huge grinding stone where no doubt the olives were put in, with a channel coming out the bottom, and these stones would have been placed on top. And I would imagine they would have probably used a donkey to sort of just keep walking round, grinding the stones together to get the olive oil out. We've come to the end of our little vlog and walk around the lovely ancient city of Salamis, and behind me you can see the gymnasium again. And I hope you've really enjoyed coming along and watching this one today. I hope you've really enjoyed it.
Well, do you know where you're standing, Graham?
Oh no, where am I standing?
You're standing in the Roman latrine, which has a capacity for 44 people, which was not just used for its normal functions, it was also used as a social gathering place.
Oh, right. So, not quite the most salubrious place, I thought, thinking with that lovely backdrop. I'll check this out. And, yeah, Shirley's right. It's a latrine. And people would sit round here and discuss the wonders of the day before carrying out their business. But anyway, we'll turn back the other way again. We'll turn round here again.
I hope you've enjoyed today with us. I've certainly had a fabulous day coming back to Salamis. Can't wait to come back again. It's one of my favourite places in Cyprus. Hope you've loved it too. See you soon.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for watching. And as usual, if you can press the like and subscribe buttons, that will really help us develop the channel and create more videos like this one. So thanks again for watching, and thanks for coming along on this rather special place. And we'll see you in our next vlog. Take care.